That was one of the best conversations, this one that just happened. Absolutely love it and appreciate it. I wanted to ask a bit about the physiological things that happen when someone comes in the hot seat and talks to you about something and then goes on with their life, as we do. Because I've had some really joyful experiences with that, and I understand that I create my own reality, and I believe a lot in this participation with you, and I value this time one-on-one with you. One-on-one in my mind, obviously. And so, yeah, what happens with that physiologically? Why do I feel things later on? Is it because of that anchoring of this moment being powerful to me?
It's because of a shift. It's because of a vibrational shift that you could not make if you were not ready for it. Mm-hmm. You said physiological, and of course in your physical body everything feels physical, but there is a vibrational basis to it. Mm-hmm. So it's coming into a stronger point of clarity that lasts for a while. It's coming into the frequency of your own inner being, and when that happens, everything shifts. Your point of attraction shifts, and your conscious awareness of what the ramifications of that shift is keeps it going.
Mm-hmm. A few years ago, my first time in the hot seat, I ran into Peter after I left the hot seat, and he asked me, I think, a question he asks several other people of just, what was your experience like for that first time? And I said, it felt like you had tasered me in a positive way. Like, it feels like a jolt. And it was really good. And then my life immediately changed. And then I feel like I milked it and milked it and milked it, and I'm still doing that. But also another time in the South Pacific, you called on me early in the morning, and I believe you referred to me, my happiness, as slightly irrational, which is the best compliment I've probably ever received, so thanks for that. But for the remainder of the day, I was in the front, and I don't know if it's Abraham's hand or Esther's hand or whatever this hand is, was sort of pointing in my direction, and each time I physically felt this surge of energy that was incredible.
Don't mistake the realness of this energetic world that we are all a part of. Our friend for a moment wanted to call it imaginary, but it isn't. This is real energy that you are both projecting and receiving. This is the distinction that you're looking for. We touched on it briefly already today, but we want to bring it home to you in its fullness, because this is exactly what you are wanting to identify, and it's what you are almost ready to articulate yourself. We talk about the non-physical you and the physical you, and the relationship between the two. And today we talked about your inner being standing in what we are calling your vortex, in your vibrational point of attraction, considering you fully and standing as the culmination of all that you have lived has brought you to be, including the last dynamic moments that you've lived in this physical body. Mm-hmm. So everything that you've asked for, your inner being stands in this vibrational non-place but state of being, with law of attraction responding to that pure vibration. And just for a moment, contemplate what the momentum of that must be. Oh. And now see yourself in your physical form in relationship to that, having a moment where, like in the first case that you talked about, where you're more open to that than you have ever been. So you receive a visceral feeling of the conscious experience of this jolt of a connection that's more powerful than you've ever allowed it before. What you're talking about is the realization of the realness of this source energy that is you, and its attention on you. It's moment by moment where you are focused upon what you are focused upon. So we're not talking about the jolt that we're sending you in this conversation, and we're not talking about the summoning of all of this energy that your inner being stands as the receiver and the projector of. What this conversation is about is you tuning your dial to receive it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So maybe under these conditions, it's easier for you to receive it. It's easier for Esther to receive it under these conditions. Mm-hmm. These conditions are really conducive to alignment, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have people ask me, someone asked me last night actually, well, what can you do? What do you do to shift your vibration? And as you've said, we can do anything we want. We can do anything that feels good to us. For me, this is the easy button. I just sign up and I come. And I have an expectation.
If you're in this receptive mode, you're down here in this receptive mode, shifting your energy is not that easy. Even though we've written so many books and so many processes in order to help you to get into a little more receptive mode, not a whole lot happens from that. But when you accidentally or deliberately somehow stumble into the receptive mode, in other words, when you get out ahead of it, when you first wake up in the morning and you realize you're there and you stay there just a little longer, that's really how the shift takes place. So if someone says, how do you shift your vibration? This is what we would say if we were in your physical shoes. When I wake up, I'm there and I try to hold it as long as I can. And then what happens? Then I usually lose it. But then I go to bed again. And then what? When I wake up, I'm there and I try to hold it as long as I can. Then what happens? I usually lose it. Then what happens? I go to sleep and in other words, it really is every day starting anew, every day finding it until you've recognized, and after a while, you'll realize that that comment from that person, whoever it was, you're headed off into the bar pit. What are you going to do about it? Ooh. Or you're going to have a long conversation and go over the cliff and then need a new car and a new body in order to continue. So it really is about understanding, about preferring alignment, about maintaining it, and about not freaking out when you lose it, because you can get it back as soon as tomorrow morning when you wake up.
Yeah. Can I clarify something that you said this morning? When you were speaking to the gentleman about finances, there was a comment about how something like when we're in step one, having that contrast, basically we're creating greater wanting from our inner being. Our inner being, you said, your inner being is becoming more prosperous.
Yeah. Every time you ask for anything, your inner being becomes it. This is the part that we said that you'd never heard before. In the sifting and sorting, in your human form, you're launching the rocket, but you're not usually a match to it. Your inner being, in its absence of resistance, is always right up to speed with the latest and greatest that you've asked for.
So that's my question. Isn't my inner being the richest, baddest, most amazing inner being in the world? Isn't it already the most prosperous? How can I make source more?
Yes, and that's why right now you get a jolt.
Jackpot.
That's why.
Yes, okay.
That's why.
All right.
And wouldn't it be nice if that was just a steady stream of knowing, a steady stream?
Mostly it is.
Yeah, just hooked to the taser all the time.
When Abraham's telling stories about Esther, Abraham shared a story this morning about Esther's experiences, and I heard another amazing story on a different occasion, the inky mist story, which I really like, that visual of what we're putting off, our transmission, what mode we're in.
That story is that as you're feeling and then presenting yourself in the world, let's say you're in a bad mood, it's like spewing this inky mist that's just out there, sort of clouding your view and causing a diminishment of your experience. But as you keep doing it, it keeps being there. And anytime you stop, it will eventually dissipate until you'll be in a clear space, unless you keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or we can just have our inky mist be jackpot inky mist.
Whatever
that
you
works
want.
too. So when Esther listens, I know we create our own reality, so Esther can create for herself. I create for me. When Esther listens back to Abraham speaking about her, is that an easy process of sort of hearing that and just being indifferent?
Oh, she's not indifferent. She's passionate about what she hears.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, we never speak anything that she's not permissive about. There have been a few, Abraham, really? Really? You had to go there. But it depends upon what receptive mode she's in when she hears it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's not that feeling.
The thing that you know, as you've played with us, is that even if you are standing in a place of not being where you want to be, we never see you in a place where you don't want to be, and there is never a judgment about you not being in the place that you should be. So Esther never feels condemned or judged or disapproved of as she hears those stories, because she is not condemned or judged or disapproved of.
Correct, right. Okay.
It's like watching someone learning to walk.
Yeah.
The little one tumbles over and you don't say, "Get up, you little dummy."
Right.